Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. Really, really pleased to be part of, this global sharing of ideas. And about this space between, I thought about talking about differences. And I'll tell you about Lynn and Janet to think about this space around and this space between their different lives. And I want us to think a bit about the implications of differences that are linked to hierarchies and to inequalities. We are all women, some more equal than others. And I'm going to start with Lynn. I enter the house. It's cramped and small. There's a smell of stale smoke in the hall, a sense of slight messiness. Lynn comments that she didn't tidy up for me. In the living room, there's a settee behind the door and 2 comfy chairs, a very large television on the corner. Behind the door, I see a shining new fridge freezer. Lynn says there's no space in the kitchen for it. She was waiting for the council to rebuild her kitchen. There's a table pushed up to the window, piled high with food and plates. Lynn says they were waiting for the council to mend the kitchen and get some more cupboards. I asked if we could go into the kitchen. Oh, I'd rather you have a look at it when it was all ready and finished. It's awful, it's a disgrace. But she leads me in. It's tiny and undecorated. On one side is the sink and draining area. 2 kitchen cupboards are mounted to the wall, the only storage space. Surfaces are loaded with plates, pots, jars of cereal. There are no dirty plates or cups. Things are clean. Cooking seems unimportant. She's a lone mother of 4 daughters, 11-year twins, 1 8, another 5. Lynn had her new, actually second-hand, microwave oven for 3 months. She got a loan off the social to buy it. It's in lemon yellow. The color matches the toaster and kettle. She uses it every day, warming up foods or cooking from frozen. Lynn appears to survive on coffee and cigarettes. She drinks about 10 cups of coffee a day with milk and sugar. She smokes 20 cigarettes daily. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. It's my little luxury, she says. And she volunteers that smoking is a complete waste of money. Lynn's everyday life lacks nourishment, both material and emotional. This is concrete in the kinds and quantities of food available and consumed. It also shows in the stale air, the state of most of the objects in her home, and in some of the structural features of the house. A number of things are second-hand, acquired via networks of friends or from the council. She's bitter about her poor state. She feels neglected. She makes apparently irrational and incongruous expenditures, like her cigarettes, her large screen television, and an unused computer. These expenses were controversially an effect of her inability to afford things. She's in a kind of catch-22. Aside from her consumption of cigarettes, the incongruity of owning other things she possessed but didn't use, lay in her lack of expertise in using them. In sociology, we call this cultural capital, in its technical capital form, the kind of know-how. And behind such kinds of irrationalities, there's an expression of a desire to compensate for a lack. Lynn has plans to beautify her kitchen. She acquired many new things in the hope of redesigning her nourishing center. Until then, her kitchen is in her room to smoking. In her story, she seems to be waiting forever. Now, Janet. When I arrive, I knock at the front door, but hear Janet asking me to come through to the back of the house. The daughters, 10, 7, and 4, open the door for me. Janet comes in and says, I needed to excuse them, as the kitchen decoration was not finished. Yet, I see myself in a most beautiful room. The floor is in light-colored wood. Full integrated cupboards are painted an ocean color with steel handles and fixtures. The only visible appliance was the hob cooker and hood, all in steel, fitted with a large steel panel wall behind. The ceiling is of a darker color wood with 10 inbuilt directional lights. A large oak farmhouse table is in the center with 8 matching chairs and a big glass vase full of gorgeous flowers. A rug is under the table. I take an interest in the decoration and praise Janet for her good taste. Janet makes sure the door leading to the lounge remains shut. I'm clearly not meant to see the rest of the house. Making me come into the house through the back door is part of Janet's narrative of herself, how she wanted to show herself to me. But eventually, I see the rest of the house, and it is shabby by comparison. How did she and Daniel, her husband, get that kitchen? From gathering bits and pieces, trading in work for objects, chasing and making. Daniel found the sheet of steel to go behind the cooker and got it for £50. It would have cost 400. He did the electric installation. The oak farmhouse table was a present in exchange for him making a steel window for a friend. He was a steel worker. Knowing this kitchen story was not easy. We begin by talking about the cooker, then the fridge. Soon Janet is telling me of an achievement and of a story that took over her life for a while and was very important. Her oven, the dishwasher, washing machine, each thing found through a connection, a discount with a complex story behind. The stress of Janet's story, when she goes about making the plans and spending money, is on her ability and skill to find cheap goods and save money. In her narrative, she's not spending the resources of the family. Here, the kitchen is the space for family gathering, eating, talking, doing homework, playing, where Janet cooks and does the laundry, Daniel works on the accounts. It's in the kitchen that the bulk of the family practical care is done. Emotional care is obviously not disconnected from practical care, but it has specific concerns. Care here appears to be highly valued in the context of creation of a space for talking, feeding, and enjoyment in an environment with pleasing aesthetics. So, what's in these stories? Think of the images you made of the women and the homes as you listened to what I told you. What feelings did these bring about? I spent about 4 minutes to give a snapshot of each very complex life and position in the social space. Both Lynn and Janet are poor, but the levels of poverty they have are very different. The basic poverty being in the sense of isolation and powerlessness of Lynn, with so little emotional resources to sustain her project of nourishing herself and her daughters. Janet has this emotional resource and more economic and material resources as well. We are unable to explore the reasons here, but in the book I wrote about this, you can see more. The bigger picture to take from this is about the lack of innocence of the objects. This is about the connectedness between the material basis of life and the social differences we live with, which reflect our ability to accomplish the dreams we have. It is about the space between the lives we live and the dreams of lives we have, which depends on the resources of the dreamer. Some go on waiting and hoping forever. Others may be able to achieve beautiful kitchens, even though not a full beautiful house. Others, of course, are able to get it all. The reminder that the ability to achieve beautiful kitchens is very unequally distributed and not dependent on one's dream brings about the recognition of the many differences between us. The overcoming of the inequalities between our spaces is not a new idea at all. But perhaps the need to learn that all objects express these unequal spaces may be something new to learn about. So that's it. Thank you. And that's the title of the book.